We're going to talk a little bit about sharing and collaborating in Google Drive. We're going to start here in my Google Drive where I have several documents. And let's say I have this document that I would like for someone to help me with. One of the great benefits of using Google Docs and Google Drive is that you can collaborate on projects together. So what I'm going to do is right-click on this file, and you'll notice I have the option to share. Now, if you've used share before, this dialog box is probably going to look a little different because Google has recently updated its sharing settings. So the first thing I wanted to note with you is that there isn't an advanced link anymore. There's just a place to share with individuals and then the place to copy the link from. So right now it's showing that I have ownership of the document. So I'm currently the only one who can get it because you can see down here only people added above can open the link. So right now it's just me, but I would like someone else to help me with that. So I'm going to invite Amber to help me with this. So once I enter a name, you'll see on the side that there are some options for permissions, and I want to go through each of these with you. Viewer is someone who can only look at your document. They can look at it, but they can't add comments and they can't make changes. Commenter is someone who can look at your document and add comments, but they cannot edit your document. Editor is someone who can both edit and comment while viewing your document. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to ask Amber to edit this document with me because I'd like her to help me complete it. There's also a box down beneath where you can type a message and actually notify people that you've shared a document with them. If you need to let the people know you're sharing it with them, which is most often, you'll leave the notify checkbox selected and you can enter a message below. You'll notice I've added my message, added the person, given them their rights, selected to notify them, and now I'm going to click send. Now what's happening is Amber is going to be getting an email. So I'm going to change windows so that you can see what this looks like. So now I'm looking at Amber's email box and I see that Jane Doe has sent an invitation. So as Amber, when I open this document, there's the message that Jane typed in, and now I can open this document. So I'm going to go ahead and open, and then I'll switch back to Jane's screen. So now I'm back in as Jane, and you'll notice that Amber also has the document open. One of the great things about Google Docs is you actually can see who's in the document with you. If there's more than one person you've invited, there'll be multiple circles across the top. Also, you'll notice there's a color around each individual. So Amber has kind of a hot pink color. I can see where her cursor is on the document because if I hover over this hot pink line, it tells me who that is. So you actually can see who is in the document with you and where their cursor is. So I would like to go ahead and collaborate with Amber and us both work on this document together. So I'm going to start adding my idea into line 1, and I'm going to hope that she will be adding her idea into line 2. While I'm in the document working on my ideas, Amber can also be adding things to the document. So we can both be in the document at the same time. For some, this can be disconcerting at first, but if you align your document in such a way that people can easily be in different places within the same document, like this table, or if you have different sections where people are working on it, after you get used to it, you get familiar with the idea of lots of different typing going on and some things moving around while you're working. It's a great way to collaboratively work on a document. So one of the things that teachers sometimes get a little bit nervous about is what if students accidentally delete or do something they're not supposed to do in a document. So I'm going to close this document for just a moment. Amber's still in here, but let's say I've got to run, so I'm going to close it. And while she's there, she does something she's not supposed to do. So I'm going to go back in the document the next morning, and I come expecting to see all my work and panic because it's gone. So one of the things that you can do, because you have the option and Google's constantly saving, is you can go up to File, Version History, and see the version history of the document. So once I click on this, I can actually see Amber in this instance is noted in purple, and Amber deleted all of this content. I also can click on an expanded detail so that I can see here's what happened at 2:21, here's some more, and then we started writing ideas together, and there Amber did write this idea, but then she decided to delete everything. So once you find a version that takes you back to where it should be, you'll notice there are 3 dots next to that version, and you can say name this version. So if this is the one that I want and I want to name it, like sometimes people will go back to the very first one when it's an empty table and they'll call that version template. But one of the things I can do is once I have one selected, I could name it if I want to, but I want to be even simpler than that and go over here and restore this version. So it will take it back to what it looked like a little bit ago. So I'm going to click restore, and there it goes. Everything that's there is supposed to be there. One of the things that we suggest doing, especially if you're using Google Docs or other collaborative tools within Google, is we like to show students from the beginning what version history is, so that they can see that you can indeed go and see not only who did it, but when they did it and what they did. That usually curbs people trying to be curmudgeons, because they see that you can always go back and restore, and you can do a little bit of investigating and see who did what. So that's something that we like to show students from the beginning. But the power of this is far more outweighs any potential problems, but we did want to show you that just so you get some ideas for how you might use this in a collaborative space. The other thing I'd like to show you is that, let's say Amber has indeed caused problems, and now I'm just going to allow her to have view rights to the document. You can indeed go back and change permissions. So I'll go back to the document, go back to share where I was before, and there's Amber. She is an editor now, but maybe I want to make sure that I can just allow her to make comments. Now she can add her opinions, but she's not able to edit, or maybe I will allow her to view. In either case, you can change the access. You can also transfer ownership, and you can also remove someone from being an editor. I could give them temporary access for comment and view as well. That's a new feature that's in this drop down. But I'm going to go ahead and say, you know what, I'm going to let you comment, and I still have to save so that it saves those permissions. So now if she's in the document on her device and she goes to make changes, she will get this pop-up. Your access has expired. So once she reloads this document, you can see that what it's done is it's put something in suggestion mode. So if Amber tries to make changes, for example, if she tries to delete something, you'll notice what it automatically does is it makes a comment that's a suggestion. So she can't actually get rid of it, and you'll notice then on my document here, it has a strike through and it says that Amber's suggesting to delete this, and I can either check it or reject the suggestion. So that's all that she can do at this point with her commenting rights. So I'm going to minimize her and go back to my document for just a minute. And I'm actually going to go ahead and accept this suggestion, because that wasn't a good answered. So another powerful tool you have inside Google Docs is the ability to use comments to have a conversation or to provide feedback on student work. So let's say I had a follow-up question about this, having more on-site support. You'll notice if I highlight it and I go up to the very top, I have the ability to open comment history and add a comment. There's also a shortcut on the side that's this little add a comment button, and it shows it's from me, so whoever opens this document and has access to it will see that I am adding this comment. So I've said I think this should be explained further, and I can post my comment. So whoever comes here can either resolve it, or if they have a question about my post, they can actually reply to this and we can have a dialogue about it. That way, if we're not in the same place at the same time, or if we're not reading it at the same time, we can leave comments. The other thing that you can do is, this one was one that Amber put in, and let's say I have a question directly for Amber. So I really think she needs to finish this. So I can actually highlight this, add a comment, and if I want to send it directly to her, you can put a plus sign, and then you can start typing the person's name, and once you get their name in, you can finish what you're saying. Please complete. And if I want to assign it to her, I can say, you know what, you're in charge of this. And so she will have to mark it as resolved. So I can click assigned, and they're going to be notified that it's their responsibility. So once I do that, Amber got an email, and she can come in here and see this as well, and it says who it was assigned to. So if someone else comes in the document, they know, oh, that's Amber's responsibility. So you can use those comments to really help you there. So now let's take a look at links. Let's say this document's finished. Now it's clearly not finished, but let's say it were finished. And I'm ready to send this to parents because this is something I want parents to view. So I can go to sharing settings. Now what we have been doing is right-clicking on the document, but I do want to show you that once you're in here, in your document, you have the option to go to share in the top right-hand corner. Now right now what this is telling me is only Jane and Amber have any sort of rights to this document. So if I want somebody else to have a right, I'm going to have to click here and change it. So if you click in this area, you get some other tools. Now right now, if I were to copy this link, only the people to whom it's restricted would be able to open it. Well, I want parents to be able to get to it. So I'm going to click on this little drop down. You'll notice that I can change that to Henderson County Public Schools if I just want people in Henderson County to get it. Or I can say anyone with the link. This is going to be the option you want to choose if you're sending it to parents because they don't have Google accounts, so they can't log in to our hcpsnc.org and view it. The other thing is, after you've decided who can access it, you need to decide their rights. So right now it's saying anyone with the link can view, and that's what I want, and that's usually the default. But you could give them comment rights and editing rights, but that is extremely, extremely dangerous if you're not really sure who's going to be commenting and editing your document because it's public. So, but I did want to show you that once you change that who can access it, you could actually change their rights as well. So once you're finished, you can click done. And if I go back to that share box, I want to just show you what it's done. It says these people, one owns it, one comments on it, but anybody with this link can view. Now, if you want to copy the link, you don't have to even see it. You just click copy link and it's copied to your clipboard, and you could go paste it in an email to share that with parents. And if you wanted to change anything about it, go back to change, and this is where you can change who has access and what those people with access can do. So that is using that sharing permission. Another tool you have at your disposal is a way to email the people with whom you're collaborating on the document. Now, if these are people who have some certain rights to the document, not just anyone with the link can view, but people whose names have been added into the share box with a specific role. So if I go over to File and choose Email Collaborators, it's going to pull over all the people who have some sort of rights. If I had one that could add comments and one that could add edits, there would be two different choices here, and I could decide whether to include those editors or the collaborators or both. I also can send a copy to myself. It puts the document title as the subject, and then I can put my message below. So if I'm giving them information about that we need to have this finished by Friday, when I click send, they're going to get an email to their mailbox, and it'll have the direct link to the document. So it kind of is a great way to remind people who have edit rights. So you don't have to go to your email and try to remember all the people who have rights. You just go up to File, Email Collaborators, and then decide who you want to have included in that email and what you want your email to say. The next thing that we're going to talk about has to do with using Microsoft Office documents inside of Google Drive. So you'll notice this is a Google Doc because it has that blue Google Doc icon. This is a Microsoft Word document because it has the blue box with the white W. This one is not going to open immediately in Google Drive. If I double click on it, it asks me if I want to open it with Google Docs. So I'm going to choose to do that, and I want you to see what happens. When this document opens, it's not actually a Google Doc. It's actually a Microsoft Office document that is allowing you to edit it in Google Docs. You'll know it's not a real Google Doc because at the end here it says .doc. If this were a .docx, it would say .docx. But what this means is I can't have people in here editing it at the same time, but I could edit my Microsoft Office document and then download it as a change. For me, this is a little complicated. I like having one document that I can kind of keep track of instead of having to have two documents. So I will show you what I prefer to do. This is totally just my preference, but I would rather have this as a Google Doc so I can have multiple collaborators on it, and then later on if I wanted to download it as a Microsoft Office document, I can. So what I do is I go up to File and I choose Save as Google Docs. What this does is it takes that Microsoft Word document and it is now saving it into Google Docs format. So now you'll see at the top I don't have that blue .doc button anymore. I now have it as an actual Google Doc, and I can have multiple people in here with me editing it at any time. I still have, if you'll notice back in my drive, I have now a Google Docs version and a Microsoft Word version. For me, I'm going to just use this as storage or either delete it. I don't really need multiple versions of this template. So what I can do is I can either make a folder and call it Old Word Documents and stick it in there and just store it, or I can delete it. Because what this enables me to do when I go back to my template is after I've finished working with it, if I needed it to be in if I needed it to be in Microsoft format, I could download as a Microsoft Word document, and then it would download to my computer and I could send it to someone who needed it in Microsoft Office format. I just simply prefer to use mine as a Google Doc format instead of confusing myself with not being able to have multiple collaborators and that type of thing. So that is how you use Microsoft Office documents in Google. You totally could open this up, open it with Google Docs, and then make your changes, and it would save it back to that .doc format. But I like the multiple collaboration feature and some of the other features that are here as well, and I would prefer to have mine in Google Docs format. But that's, again, totally up to you. So I hope you've enjoyed sharing and collaborating in Google Drive.